All right. We are continuing with part 3, and this is our last artist that we're going to talk about. His name is Paul Gauguin, and his name is right here. I know it looks like Gauguin or something else. I think it's pronounced Gogan. So I'm going to call him that, and my apologies if I'm wrong. Paragraph 30. Like Frida Kahlo and Georgia O'Keeffe, the French artist Paul Gauguin was greatly influenced by his cultural background and travels. So all three artists are being influenced by their culture and their travels. Gauguin was born in Paris, France in 1848. His family left Paris to move to South America while he was still very young. Paul spent his childhood in Lima, Peru, surrounded by South American pottery and other objects that his mother loved. His mother also liked to dress in colorful, traditional costumes of Lima. All of these things helped spark Gauguin's interest in art and creativity. I need to pause this because I forgot about this part when I read this last year, and the dress of Lima, Peru is really interesting. So I'm going to pause it, do a Google search, and I'll resume here in a second. All right, so here are some pictures. You can see they're going to be wearing hats. The shape is very popular. They're going to be wearing a shawl that looks like it's been embroidered, which means using thread to make these designs. Very colorful skirts. Look at that. It's beautiful. All right, so back to this. So that's what his mother was really into. All of these things helped spark his interest in art and creativity. When Gauguin was 7, his family moved back to France. 10 years later, he joined the French merchant marine, traveling on ships that carried cargo and people from place to place. And I think we talked about merchant before, especially in Path to Paper Sons. A merchant is someone who is like in business. They buy and sell things. During this time, Gauguin sailed twice to Brazil. If you don't know, Brazil is a country in South America. He discovered that he loved traveling and learning about other cultures. These passions would become important parts of his life and art. After working for the merchant marine, Gauguin returned to France. He started a new way of life. He got a job as a stockbroker, which is something that deals with money, and married a Danish woman named Met. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and I don't know how to pronounce her last name, maybe Gad or God. In 1873, he began painting as a hobby. He quickly showed great talent, and his paintings were displayed in major art shows. In 1882, the stock market crashed in France, and Gauguin lost his job. So the stock market, it's very complicated for me to explain, but it has to do with money, and when you're dealing with money, and that was his job, basically people went broke. So he decided to take a risk of becoming a full-time painter. He moved to Brittany in the north of France. Brittany would be a city, not a person. He's not moving to a person. Gauguin felt that many French artists imitated, which means copied, each other, rather trying to create something new and different. He did not want to imitate anyone. He didn't want to copy anyone. In Brittany, he started to move away from the Impressionist style that was so popular at the time. Impressionist art often used pastel colors. So pastels like light pink, light blue, light purple. Okay, and focused on the effects of light. Not really sure exactly how that works. I'm not an artist, so maybe we'll learn more. Gauguin instead started painting scenes of Brittany's countryside in bold colors with strong lines. So bold colors would be like your bright colors, that are really intense. And strong lines would probably be like, they could be thick lines, they could just be interesting. I'm not quite sure what he means by that, so I would like to see his artwork so I understand better. Sparked by Europe's growing interest in other cultures, especially Japanese culture, Gogan continued to experiment in his own painting. He also began to travel outside of France again to find new inspiration for his art. I'm not sure why this is here. So this picture was included, but I don't know why. So hopefully this paragraph will tell me. In 1887, after a brief, which means short, trip to Panama, Gauguin visited the island of Martinique in the Caribbean. The beauty of the Caribbean landscape amazed him. Well, it amazes me too. I love the Caribbean, or the Caribbean. Both pronunciations are okay. He also became friendly with people on the island. As a result of this experience, he started to include both tropical landscapes and symbols in his artwork. Okay, this is a tropical plant. I get it. I understand maybe why they put this here. Martinique Landscape and Among the Mangoes, or Mongos, are two of the paintings that Gogan created during his stay on the Caribbean island, or the Caribbean island. After he left the island, he used sketches, and I think most of you know what sketches are, thanks to Miss Shaw's, like just drawings, he made in Martinique as the basis of many more paintings, so as like his sketch pad. The people of Martinique remained a popular subject in his artworks. All right, so here we have the United States. Right here is Florida, here is Mexico, and here is Martinique. That's what he's talking about. And this is the shape of the country, or it's a country and it's an island. I'm going to pause for just a second. I think I might sneeze. All right, paragraph 38. Gogan was eager, which means excited, to find another exotic. I kind of make that little motion with my mouse just to get your attention to it. Exotic means something different, something that's really, really different from what you like, maybe. And we often say exotic to mean places that are warm and tropical. That's not always necessarily true, but that's my impression of the word. So let me start over. He was excited to find another special tropical destination that would inspire his creativity. He was tired of European culture, which European means the continent, Europe, and Germany, France, England. He found it artificial and dull. Boring. In 1892, he decided to sail for the island of Tahiti, also known as French Polynesia in the South Pacific. So it's an island in the South Pacific Ocean. He left his old life behind. He thought this Polynesian island might offer him personal and creative freedom. He moved into a bamboo hut. So I know a lot of us have read Hatchet now. He used like bamboo, which is a plant, and a hut would just be a shelter for him to stay in, like a tent, and started to paint the scenery and people of Tahiti. Scenery is what is the outdoors. Along with new subjects, he experimented with new techniques, which means new ways of doing things and formats. Paragraph 39 has a quotation here. It says, "I am leaving in order to have peace and quiet, to be rid of the influence of civilization," he wrote at that time. "I want only to do simple, very simple art." This means to get rid of the influence of civilization would just be like the people around you, the stores, anything that you would think of that your life really has to do with. Having the job, paying bills, all that stuff. Paragraph 40, Gogan was fascinated by the strength and simplicity, which means how simple, of art from Africa, Asia, and Latin America. In Tahiti, he strived, which means really tried, to use these qualities, the qualities of strength and simplicity, in his own artworks. He used vivid, which means very bright, bold colors, and simple compositions to paint the tropical environment. Gradually, he began to focus more on the Tahitian people themselves. Tahitian are people from the country Tahiti. He painted many scenes of Tahitians doing everyday tasks such as weaving baskets. And here is a picture of Tahiti right there. Paragraph 41, Gogan also was inspired by the history and the stories of the Pacific Islands. He began to add elements of these stories, such as religious symbols, to his paintings. His style began to break away more and more from the traditions of European art. Soon, Gogan's use of colors and lines was like no one else's. So here is one of his art pieces. It is called, move over, come on, let me move. Comings and Goings, Martinique. It was in 1887. So the lines, they're very, you can see a lot of line work here. Let's see how, you can see there's lots of bold lines, lots of very bright colors. We have the Tahitian people that are there. Oh, okay. I think I understand a little better now. Okay. Gogan not only used intense bright colors to reflect the landscape of the Polynesian islands, but he also used colors with great freedom. For example, he painted grass red if he felt it should be red. Oh, okay, so right here he has grass being red. Don't know why he would think it needs to be red. Like, I'm sure these aren't the real colors of what he's seeing. But whatever color he used is because he has an emotion connected to it. Near the end of his life, Gogan moved to the more remote Marquesas Island in the Pacific. He continued painting there until his death in 1903. Gogan had a huge influence on modern art. He inspired artists such as Vincent van Gogh, Henri Matisse, and Pablo Picasso, among others. Today, he is known for his unique style and technique, as well as for his experiments with color, all of which were strongly affected by the places he visited and lived. Frida Kahlo, Georgia O'Keeffe, and Paul Gauguin are among many artists whose works, meaning artworks, have been influenced by their journeys.